Super excited to welcome everyone to the first Closing Time podcast with Travis
and Brian.
And we wanted to start a podcast for our industries, the mortgage and real estate industry, to talk about the highs and lows of what we experience as mortgage professionals, what's going on in the real estate industry as a whole that can help our industries, and talk a little bit about our families, how we interact with each other, and just kind of be raw and real.
Yeah, full disclosure, I didn't even know we were doing a podcast until about 4 minutes ago.
And that's how we do things, just rip the Band-Aid off.
I mean, neither one of us has done a podcast before. We've gotten into some social media recently, but we've been in the mortgage business for decades. I mean, you're about a decade. I'm 15, 17 years in. And so we felt like there would be a good opportunity for us to just have a conversation that's more real than what most people get. Maybe talk through some issues that we're facing, talk through some market changes, talk through some strategies for the realtors that we partner with or could partner with, or other loan officers can pick up on this and take off on it. And even our own employees might benefit. So we just wanted to get together and kind of, talk through some stuff and start a podcast. So here we go.
Well, I think we start with kind of why we got into our industry. So I'll lead us off with that question of how you got into mortgage business, why you got into mortgage business, why the heck you stay in the mortgage business. Go.
So getting into the mortgage business was right after college. I had a couple different job opportunities. Some buddies of mine worked at a company called Wells Fargo Financial, which most people think they've heard of, but probably haven't. It was a division of Wells Fargo prior to them merging with Wachovia back in the early 2000s. And it was almost like a boiler room type of environment. They hired a bunch of college athletes and gave them some sales scripts and some sales training and said, go compete and see who wins, kind of thing. The company was kind of cool. I mean, a lot of my really good friends there, a lot of my teammates from college went and worked there, and the sales training was top notch. The business model was flawed, and they actually went out of business in 2010. And so I had some mortgage adjacent experience from when I graduated college in 2003 till when I left in 2010. And we would do cash out refinances. So it was basically subprime mortgage lending in the time. We would do debt consolidations. We would do other types of loans, but what we were judged on mainly was the mortgage stuff. I never worked with real estate agents though until 2010. And so I left that company in 2010 when they went out of business and became a mortgage broker. That lasted about 3 months because the brokers that I worked for lost their FHA credentials. They couldn't do FHA loans. And at that point in my career, that was basically 100% of my business. And so when that happened, I bounced around a little bit and then partnered up with Trip Davis, and we started the Palmetto Mortgage Group in 2014. The reason I stay is because I guess to back up, nobody grows up. Like you'll never ask a kid what they want to be when they grow up, and they'll say loan officer. Right? It's always something cool. So nobody thinks that the mortgage business is cool, but I have found a passion for it because you and I both, we've got a skill set that other people can benefit from. We get to earn pretty high levels of income when we're having success at it for doing not hard labor type of work. So we're in an air conditioned building, but I'm getting to help people that are trying to achieve a financial goal or achieve their dream of home ownership. While helping people, I get to be well compensated for it. And so once you get into it, it's one of those things that you either find a passion for it or you don't. And I happen to be one of the people that found a passion for it. And so most of my best friends now are people that I've worked with for a long time. You would be one of them. And so it's one of those things where I don't even know what I would do if I was to go do something else.
I agree.
Like I'm in my mid 40s right now. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going back to school, So I was like, I have developed a skill set. I enjoy it a lot because I'm a sales guy at heart. Like I enjoy the sales part of it, but I learned from my dad early on that sales isn't used car salesman where you're trying to convince somebody to do something that isn't good for them. Like the best salespeople help people achieve their goals. You ask good questions, you find out what their needs are, and then you find a way to accomplish that goal. And I think that we're good at that. And if I can be good at that and get paid for it, why would I do anything else?
Didn't we have an argument in like 2018 or 19 about is the mortgage industry sales? Mm-hmm. And I think you're coming around to my argument that it's more relationship develop
First of all, what you
than sales.
said very passionately was, bruh, this job isn't a sales job. It's a service job. And my argument in retort was, you're wrong, because I first have to convince a real estate agent that I'm worthy of them selling me their deal. So I have to sell them on me.
It's true.
I then have to sell a client that I'm the best fit for their mortgage needs when they have 1,000 other options. I then have to package their loan up pretty enough that and sell an underwriter that this client is going to repay their loan. So I have to sell 3 people on every single transaction. And part of the sales process is providing high levels of service. So while technically you aren't wrong, I am also not wrong.
Which is the reason why we work so well together. You brought up helping people, and that kind of leads me into why I got into our industry. So I was actually a real estate agent, fresh out of college at the University of South Carolina, and was in the real estate game for 2 years. Everybody knows what happened in 2008 and 9. Became extremely hard being an hour and a half away from where I'm originally from, in Hartsville, South Carolina. And trying to break into a market during that time was nearly impossible. And I was going up against some other bigger names now in the real estate business in Columbia. And so I was approached by a large bank in town to help develop their loss mitigation underwriting department and that sort of thing. And so thought it was best at the time to take a salaried, safer type role. And so did that quickly, realized that working behind a desk and not having interaction with other people was 100% not for me. Underwriters, we've nicknamed them the trolls in our past, and they kind of sit at a desk and don't talk to other people and don't interact and make decisions on files. And so wasn't for me, and the foreclosure industry really rolled around. And so I got to travel some managing the foreclosure inventory and pipelines in a couple states for this bank. And then we caught wind of layoffs and stuff like that as the inventory started to dwindle down, the economy started to pick back up. And so actually had a mutual friend of ours that worked for a mortgage company, was a branch manager, and I guess didn't want to recruit me or didn't think I was good enough or don't know the answer to the question, but referred me to you or you to me. And so during that time, my mom, who was a single mom, was trying to buy her own house using the USDA loan, and several loan officers, kind of blew her off. It was a small loan, and didn't really help her, give her the service and the attention that she needed to get her loan done. So I got involved with that process and worked with the USDA office in my hometown and helped get that loan approved. And it was like, holy cow, like you can really make a difference in people's lives. I mean, you feel safe when you go home. I mean, that's kind of what the word's about, right? You're home, you're safe. And so that really motivated my jump to call you and Trip at the time to get a sit down to see how do I do this. And you told me to go somewhere else and get better training for a little while and then holler back at you. And I did in, what was it, 2017 maybe, I think. And it's been one of the coolest rides since then that I can recall in my life.
Your why is way better than my why. Like, you have a personal experience where your mom got bad service. It motivated you to provide better levels of service to other clients. And I'm over here like, I just want to get paid.
I mean, I get paid in the process, no doubt about it. But you've recently started back originating again.
Mm-hmm.
You had moved into a non-producing role, and in 2023 started producing again, and unfortunately, are have a little bit better numbers than I do at this time, and that's hard to say, but that's kudos to what you believe in and the impact that you want to have on your community here.
Yeah, like in 2017, the idea when we first merged with the company we were with at the time, the goal was to go into a non-producing role, because in our business, the only way you can get paid on a profitability of a branch legally is to be in a non-producing role. You can't originate loans, get paid as an LO, and then also get paid on profitability technically. Now, there's ways around that now, that at the time that was the goal, because every time I had made a move to a different company in the past, I'd left money on the table, hundreds of thousands of dollars that I felt like I'd earned but couldn't take because technically I wasn't allowed to get paid that way. So we went into a non-producing role essentially because I didn't trust the people that we were working with to not screw us over if we needed to make a move in the future. What I didn't realize at the time was the company with the people that we were with, including Matt and all the guys, Hunter and all these guys, were of the utmost character of people that you could find in our business. And the mortgage industry, you know, for those that aren't aware, isn't known for having a lot of high character people everywhere throughout. So when you find those people, sticking with them, I think, is a really, really positive thing for your business and your life in general. So we got pretty lucky. And then if you're in this business, you understand that post COVID, when rates went from, you know, the mid twos to the mid sevens, the business got crushed. Right. I mean, so there wasn't any profitability to get paid on anyway. And I wanted more control over my income. So yeah, 2 years ago, in August of 2023, I started originating again. And I would be lying if I didn't tell you that there wasn't an ego hit that came with that, right? Like, in my head, I had been promoted to this non-producing manager without realizing that it actually made me worse at my job. And so getting back into origination was something that I had resisted for about a year longer than I should have. And then what I learned is that what I am passionate about in this business, which is helping people, which is having influence on people that need our support, which is the sales part of it, is something that I had missed without even realizing that I'd missed it. And in fairness to you, or as a compliment to you, you are not unshy about calling me out on my issues. And I don't remember the exact words. We had some drinks at the time, but you basically said, you are not good at your job anymore. It's clear that you don't care. Your passion is gone. You need to fix something.
Yep.
And thank you for that, because being back as an originating branch manager at this point, you would probably attest to the fact that my energy level is higher. My ability to lead is better. I am in the weeds of loan transactions. And so I'm better able to help loan officers with the issues that they're having. I'm sharper on the guideline changes. My product knowledge is better. I'm doing it on a day-to-day basis, and I'm working really hard. And so I am a better mortgage professional as a result of originating than I was after the COVID years made me fat and lazy.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find a company, and hard to keep yourself up to date with the struggles of a loan officer or a real estate agent, if you're a broker in charge, of when you're not in the trenches dodging bullets, right? And we have in our move to cross country mortgage, I think I can say that, they are a company that understands the bullets you take in the trenches, and even from a management and leadership look down, they're in the trenches with us. And I think that helped you get Stella get her groove back, if you will, on what's going on, what our business culture needed to be to grow through a challenging market. Um, so, I mean, I think we've talked about our ourselves a little bit. It kind of leads me to a question, because if the purpose of our podcast is to be raw and real with our industries, you know, since you started producing again in 2023, if you can talk about, you know, one or two things that you think really helped you go from zero to, I mean, you're well over 100 units now, in the end of August, and talk about a couple of those things. Talk about maybe one item that you wish you would have done differently. I think that can give some loan officers that are struggling, that might not know which button to push next, an idea.
And for me, it was the main thing was I knew that, well, I guess to back up, I took a 90% pay cut from 21 to 23. That's pretty shocking to your household, to your ego, to your bank account. Like when you have a lifestyle, and I don't live lavishly. I'm not like a big spender. I mean, but when you go from one level of income to a significantly lower level of income, it's shocking. And what a lot of people deal with is the deer in the headlights kind of analogy. Like things change, typically for the negative. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. There is no shortage of ideas or information that a loan officer can go get their hand on. But that's problematic because it becomes overwhelming. And so most people, people talk about fight or flight, and what they don't often talk about is the third option, which is freeze. And most realtors, most salespeople, most loan officers freeze when they don't know the best thing to do. And they focus on, I've got to analyze which one is the best, and then I'll implement. And I am, as a credit to myself, my team would probably hate that I'm toting this as a good thing, but I am a very fast implementer. You give me an idea, I like it, that day or the next day, it's going into our process. And then I'll figure out if it's good. But the one thing I know, that to be a loan officer, you have to sell things. Like you have to be on the phone. And so I just started dialing every realtor I've ever known, every past client I've ever dealt with, every loan officer I knew, any business partner or business person that might be able to refer me a deal. I was having 250, 300 conversations a week for a year plus. And I think that if you asked most loan officers or real estate agents and they were honest, they would be sub 30.
Absolutely.
Right. And so if you're not talking to 100 people a week, it's going to be real hard for you to go from 0 or 1 loans or 2 loans to 10 or 12 or 15, because you're not putting in the effort. And so without sounding like too much of a jerk, most people just need to decide that they're going to get on the phone and go meet people face to face, and then do it as much as they freaking can. And I think that we all, as salespeople, deal with call reluctance and the ego. We don't want to be told no, and all those things that you hear about on sales calls and podcasts and stuff. I just feel like what I was good at that time was surrendering to a process, and the process being call a bunch of people as many times as I possibly can to try to get as many appointments as I can, and just to work as hard as I possibly could. I knew that going from zero for 7 years. I mean, for 7 years, I had not done a loan. And so to go from zero to, I think I'm pacing for like, 190, 200 loans this year. That's a pretty good jump, right? In a 2-year period. And so the way I did it was picking up the phone as many times as I possibly could without fear of being told no, and trying to set face-to-face appointments with realtors.
Well, and we don't look at it as a no, right? It's just not right now.
Not yet.
We haven't called enough. We haven't followed up enough. We haven't presented enough value to be heard. And I think what you went through in 2023 is still true today. I mean, we've had a conversation 3 or 4 times over the last couple of weeks, like leads, just activity, incoming activity has dropped a little bit, and we kind of freak out and panic of, have I done something wrong? Have I upset somebody? Have whatever. And the answer to the question is always pick up the phone and call.
Yeah. So for those listening, Travis and I are very competitive with each other, but we're also pretty good at our jobs.
Yep.
And so like, in our market, we're top 2 or 3%, I would guess, in production numbers, if that's what you track. And he and I still, on at least a monthly basis, probably more like a bi-weekly basis, will have a mini panic attack where we call each other and say, is the world ending? Are we going to close any more loans in the rest of our lives? Are we going to have to file bankruptcy? Like, what's happening in the market to make us not do the business that we were doing last month or the month before? And I think that's a good thing. I think the fact that we get nervous and are tracking our business well enough to notice small slowdowns is a positive. And I think the mentality of, okay, we've noticed this undulation in the market. It's slowed down for at least a temporary period of time. Let's have our little, I'm saying it jokingly, but have our little meltdown and then pick up the phone because we can control our lead flow by calling more people. So I think that mentality actually serves us well, as much as it doesn't feel good in the moment.
I agree.
Right. And for you, like you've been at it since 2017. I did send you to a big bank to get training. And you know as well as I am, I'm pretty good on the sales stuff. I am terrible. Like I've got some ADHD, I'm sure, undiagnosed. I've got very little patience. I move fast throughout the day. So to sit down and train somebody is not one of my more positive attributes.
Yeah, I think your training style is go figure it out.
Watch me do this and go figure it out.
Yeah.
Which is great for somebody who's got a background in mortgage. It's not great for a newbie. And so we did. You went to a big bank, you got trained on little things like what's a W-2 and how do you calculate income, on the stuff that's really important, nuts and bolts, but that my personality type doesn't really drive me towards wanting to teach people. That's one of the reasons Tripp and I partner so well, and we partner so well together, because you're pretty good at training and Tripp is really good at training. And so we have that built out now to where we can train newer people. But at the time, I mean, I was still a new loan officer trying to grow my business.
Right.
And so I think it worked out well in the end. Like, you're making me feel bad, but I feel like it worked out well.
I would say you benefited from it.
I would say you benefited from it. We both benefited equally from that. But yeah, when you came back and then you started in 2017, it was a decent market at the time, pretty good market historically, but not COVID numbers. So what did you do at that point to grow your business? Because you got a massive business right now too. You're the number one loan officer in your market, I think, right?
If I'm not, it's real close, but I'm pretty sure as of the end of August, I will be. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I did, I don't know, I was kind of backed into a corner, right? When I made the move to the mortgage industry, had my first kid, and wanted to live a better life than what I grew up in. Stayed in Columbia, Lexington after college, and it was it's a more expensive area to live, and so I kind of was backed into a corner. So the call reluctancy that most people have in sales industries, I had to spin my mindset on. I went from worried about how many, or if someone was going to tell me no, to calculating how many no's on average am I getting before someone will tell me yes. And a yes for me was a face-to-face meeting. I'm terrible on the phone. And so I know that if I can get face-to-face with somebody, my winning percentage goes up into the 90s. And so I made phone calls to agents, to any type of referral partner, whether it be attorneys, whether insurance people, financial advisors, anybody that would listen, that had somebody that they might could send to me. I would make a phone call to and want to schedule a face-to-face meeting. I'll buy you lunch to hear how you built your business, and for me to tell you what I can do for you, what value I can add. And so the mindset shift really helped me as I calculated I needed about 7.5 to 8 no's before I got a yes, I could schedule an appointment. Well, my goal was I need 5 lunches a week. And then I needed to do like one happy hours and a couple breakfast coffee type appointments. Well, all right. So if I want 6 to 7 of those in a week and it takes me 8 no's to get there, that gave me my number of calls that I needed to run through to fill those items up on my calendar. And that's what I did every single Friday for the next week. And so once I filled that week up, all right, then I need to go to, I can start on the next week. And that built on itself because I've never, sounds cocky, I guess. I've never had a real estate agent say no. It's always been, I'm not ready or not right now. It's great that you've got a preferred lender that you've used for 10 years. You're a well agent, as we call them, do a lot of business in our market. Okay, great. That loan officer at some point is going to want to take his family on a week-long vacation, and he's not going to answer the phone. He or she is not going to answer the phone. Just give me one swing of the bat. That's all I need. It's one swing of the bat. And that's what I focused on. I didn't do anything else but use this. And people work with, as you taught me, people who they know, like, and trust. Well, I wasn't from here, so I had to call as many people as I could and go to as many real estate events and stuff like that so they could know who I am. And then I had to figure out how to get them to like me, build a relationship with them so that they would trust me. One agent that I still work with today, it took me 18 months of calling and spending time doing things for this agent, being in front of them, going to their events and stuff like that to get that one shot. I took the swing of the bat, and we're good friends now. So it's just the discipline to keep calling.
I think what's similar about you and I, and to use another one of those cheesy analogies, but you've heard the saying, burn the boats. Like, for anybody that doesn't know what that is, I mean, it's a story about Cortez, who was a Spanish conquistador from, I don't know, 1400 or something, sometime a long time ago. And the story goes that he took his ships with 300 men to somewhere in the Caribbean, and their job was to take the island. And he instructed his men to burn the ships. Now, this is 300 people versus 3 million or 5 millions of people. Like, the odds were insurmountable. But he told his people to burn the boats so that their mentality was like, there's no way for us to get off. We're either going home in their boats or we're not going home at all because they've killed us.
Right.
And I think that most people in our industry, either real estate or mortgage, have a backup plan. Most unsuccessful people have a backup plan. I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, I'll go sell cars, or I'll go sell insurance, or I'll go get the salary job doing whatever. But I think the people that end up being the top producers, that end up having the most impact on people, the people that earn the highest levels of income, are the people that don't have a backup plan. And it sounds like, from what you're talking about, when you started this in 2017, you went into, I'm calculating how many no's to get a yes, and then reverse engineering the math to know how many phone calls you need to make. And I was similar. It's like, I'm just going all in. Yep. There is no backup plan. Like, I am either going to be successful at this or I'm filing bankruptcy. And so I think if somebody's trying to take something out of this podcast, if you want to be a successful loan officer or real estate agent, having that mentality, the burn the boats mentality, I think is the only way to be able to go all in on something and be successful at it. Right?
That could be the first shirt swag of the podcast. Burn the boats.
Yeah. Let's make sure we have more than 2 listeners before we start talking about swag.
We can make 4 shirts, 1 for each of us, 2 for them. I think you're right. One thing that we see as well is we have a lot of part timers. They're gonna do mortgage and real estate on the side, and you're not all in. You don't have the burn the boat mentality of there's no going back.
And that's bad for that's bad for you because you're never going to hit the goals that you want to hit. It's bad for your clients because you're not able to service them at the level they deserve to be serviced. It's bad for the vendors that you're partnering with because they're having to pick up slack for you. That's just, I understand why people want it because they want the stability of whatever their main source of income is with the ability to earn some upside on the real estate side. I discourage that most of the time just because things tend to go poorly if you're not a true professional in this industry. And we're in industries where the public will poke fun at realtors. Like you've seen those memes. It's like, oh, what my friends think I do, what I actually do, and all that stuff. It's not reality. The job of a real estate agent is difficult. The job of a mortgage lender is difficult. You have to be a professional and you have to know what you're doing, or transactions could go bad. And this is people's American dream that we're messing with.
Yep.
So I'm with you that I think you have to be a professional and you have to be full-time with that mentality of going all in if you want to achieve success in either of these industries.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us for the first episode of the Closing Time podcast. I'm getting waved at from the back from Levi that we got to wrap this thing up. We're getting at our time slot. So we hope that you will join us for episode 2. We're going to start out monthly with these. We would love to have comments, feedback in the comments. If you have any questions that you want us to answer from the mortgage side or as a loan officer to real estate agents, drop those for us. And we look forward to next time.
Enjoyed it, man.
Yep.